In past shows, I've spoken to talented artists from Miami, Hawaii and Udine in Italy. This time around, I'm chatting to a band from the glitzy and showbiz location of Leeds in the UK. However much I tried to do research, I actually jumped onto the interweb a little bit before we talked to research you guys, but I couldn't actually find that much. Thankfully, though, I've got two of them on the phone right now. From the band The Indecision, it is Rikk and Ben. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Right, just so that we can clarify who's who. Rikk, say hello.
Hi, yeah, I'm Rikk.
And the incredibly deep-voiced chap is Ben. Hello, mate.
Hi, I'm the other one.
Just before we start off, because there's quite a lot of people in the band, I realise, but what is it the two of you do?
Rikk, this is me. I sing, I play keys, piano, Hammond organ, that kind of thing.
And I play the tenor saxophone.
Ooh, bit of brass. Lovely.
Yes, indeed.
Now, could you give us a little bit of background into The Indecision? Where have you come from? Where have you been? Anything notable to mention before we go into your first track?
So we are The Indecision. There's 8 of us in total on a good day.
Stage invasion.
Yeah, literally, we just kind of kept getting more people. We've been going since about 2012, roughly thereabouts, gigging at least since then, off and on. We all met at music college back in 2011 or something like that. And yeah, I'd love to say there's a lot more about us online. We're a bit slack on the self-promotion, that kind of thing. Ben joined maybe around 2014 or so, or 2013. And we've just been like releasing music, occasionally gigging whenever we can, and kind of going since then, really.
When you were chatting, just while I was sorting some bits and bobs out before we started, I heard some big names flying about. Were they people that you have previously supported or worked with?
Yeah, we've been lucky enough to open some pretty cool people along the way. We opened up for the Slackers in one of our early shows. I remember, if I give it some context, we just kind of recorded a little self-made EP back in the day just to get some gigs, and I think that landed us a Slackers support slot, which was good fun until 2012. I think we met one of our sax players that gig. I think he was in the crowd, and I think we went to a little after-show party together, and Nick Richards, he joined us, and he's the alto player in the band. I think a little bit after that, I think we were opening up for Lee Perry, which was a pretty cool experience.
Nice.
I think that was Ben's first show, if I remember, Ben.
That was, yeah. Josh, the trombone player, couldn't make that show, and I played the saxophone, and I was always in the front row, so I knew all the songs already. So it made it an easy gig for me to jump in on.
Yeah, I remember reading through the set, and you were like, yeah, I know that one. And that was pretty cool. I think we were in like sort of Lee Perry's dressing room and afterwards, which was a bit like sort of Star Trek, kind of, what do we do here? Because we were like, 21 or something, I guess, back then. Pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a bit of a character as well,
He looks
as I think.
He's an interesting guy, yeah.
Interesting guy. His band was sound, though. They were really nice guys. Well, they all were. That was pretty fun. I remember we opened up for the Scatterlights once, which was good fun as well. I think it was in Sheffield at the time, maybe 2015 or so. We opened for Bob Andy one time at the London International Ska Festival, which was kind of amazing. What a lovely guy, like really, really humble. Sadly passed away a couple of months ago.
It's actually crazy how many people have actually been in his presence or worked alongside him or been on the same bill as him. Most people I've spoken to recently have mentioned his name.
He's just such an incredible songwriter. I mean, I just used to listen to his records, then we got offered the chance to open for him, and he was just you kind of sometimes really expect, to be honest, with certain real high profile figures, for them to be a bit standoffish and not really have the time. But he shared a few words, and he was just a really, really humble guy, and he generally seemed like he was really happy to be there, and it's a kind of real nice memory actually. That show is especially now, all the more poignant because he's no longer with us. We've done some fun stuff as a band. It's I think we did our first kind of full UK tour back in 2014. I think we just released a CD which we kind of self-produced called New Faces with Do the Dog Music. Kind of just allowed us to play some wider shows and maybe play for some bigger names. I think then we followed that with a single in 2015 called Swing Those Hips, which was kind of fun. We had Victor Rice do some remixes of it, with some dub mixes of it, which is cool. Just kind of gigging, because it's such a big band, it's tough to get all of eight of us together. George, the guitar player and other singer, he lives in Berlin nowadays, so creates some other problems from time to time.
Imagine.
But whenever we can get together, we certainly do.
Right, I reckon it's time to get a bit of your music on then, so people can get a feel for you. Which song should we play first?
Yes, so we released an album last year. This was the single from it. It's called Leave a Light On. It goes like this.
Offbeat Reggae Radio with Leave a Light On. Actually, the first song from the Indecision that I heard and made me actually want to touch base and try and sort the interview out. So I really liked that one.
Oh, nice. That's cool. That's the first one you heard.
It was, yeah. I think it was like a random Spotify playlist that put it on, and then I went, ooh, who are these? Let's listen to a few. Oh, yeah.
The internet's doing its thing, spreading the little tendrils out.
Exactly. Thank you, the algorithms. So, what I'd like to talk about now is music that may have shaped what you're making now, or music that you generally listen to, artists that you respect. Who are influences for you guys?
Well, if I think back for me, like if I think back to when we started the band, you know, I really wanted to create a bit of an old school kind of ska band, just really heavily listening to the Scatterlights, you know, as a lot of people do. I think I picked up that Skabu Dabo record, my favourite Scatterlights album, the Justin Yap produced one, which has like Confucius on it, which we play live sometimes just because it's such a good jam. I remember the guitar player George, we happened to be living with each other, that's how we met at university, and he's a phenomenal jazz guitar player. I started just playing him some kind of, you know, more Jamaican jazz, kind of Ernest Ranglin, that kind of stuff, and he was kind of really into it. And I think it was just like, you know, do you want to start a ska band, man? Nobody's doing it, kind of thing. It kind of went from there, really. We kind of just found people who were into it similarly. You know, Ben's a phenomenal tenor player in his own right, and a phenomenal jazz player. You know, we both have a bit of a history with kind of UK ska and stuff like that. And we were both really into two-tone when we were younger, and kind of getting, you know, tracing the roots back, I'd say. Does that sound fair, Ben?
That's exactly it, yeah. When I was little, my parents played a lot of punk and a lot of new wave, but they always played some really good Trojan and Studio One in the house. And then, I got more into kind of ska punk and two-tone as I got a bit older. Kind of really came back to that original Jamaican sound about the time I moved to Leeds. Then I heard the Indecision playing these really great grooves from these Jamaican records. But when I listened to the songwriting, I could hear loads of other music I really liked. I could hear the Kinks and the Beatles and bits of Gene Vincent and bits of kind of R&B. And I guess that's why I was always in the front row. And then eventually you were looking for a saxophone player, and I was right there, and I had the right boots on. So I got the call.
So you were a fangirl first, and then just jumped up on stage yourself.
And I got promoted. Yeah.
No, I was just saying, I think that's what's kind of nice about the band is we never just tried to play. We're not pretending that it's 1960s Jamaica in terms of what we're playing. You know, we've grown up around all sorts of, you know, British pop and all sorts of stuff. And as Ben was saying, I think we've, you know, and certainly when I've been writing, like, at least say from that perspective, it's just, you know, kind of just write in the style that kind of comes naturally out of me, and often present those kind of tunes to the band. And like with Leave a Light On that we played earlier, I think that was, so I was trying to write something that was a bit simplistic in terms of harmony. I think it's only got 3 chords in it, you know, and it was one of the last tunes I actually wrote in terms of getting that album ready. I don't think any of the band had actually heard it until I brought it to the studio and had it all written out. In terms of like where that comes from, I think I must have been listening to some old groove, you know, because it's not groundbreaking in terms of the rhythm that's being played. It's been done many times, but I think we do it in our own kind of cool way. And, you know, it's nice to hear that tune well received by people like yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've talked about reggae, ska, two-tone. What is the song that you would like to shove on now for your influence track?
Yeah, well, this one's called Old Rockin' Chair, Jackie O'Pell, backed by the Scatterlights. I think I remember bringing this song to a really early practice because I think it was just one of those ones we were kind of getting our chops a bit together and trying to say what kind of stuff do we want to play. And I remember saying, this is a really cool tune, really great vocal, some really cool Ernest Ranglin guitar, like I mentioned at the end. There's some nice little work of his, some scattershot kind of guitar. It just kind of stuck with me because I remember it was a tune that we all kind of liked and we used to play a little bit. It was very much like, this is a cool sound, why don't we try and see if we can mimic this for a bit, you know? So Old Rockin' Chair.
Coming off the back of that then, and talking about what we need to promote. It's a weird time at the moment with lockdown in week, at the time I'm recording, what are we in, week 6, 7, something like that?
I think it's 6 tomorrow.
It feels longer, it really does. But at the time of recording, we're slightly climbing the walls and going slightly strange. I imagine that you guys will have probably had gigs cancelled on you and all sorts. So what do you think the rest of 2020 is looking like for you?
It's very hard to say, to be honest. It's been quite demoralising sitting back and watching a year's touring be wiped clean. We were supposed to be on tour in Germany this month, Rikk?
Yeah, we originally had some dates lined up in May that have fallen through, which would have been, pretty special. We've never been able to get out there. I think the difficulty right now is just the ambiguity of when can anybody play, I keep seeing dates advertised for gigs in September, and you sort of go, will anybody be allowed to, will we be able to have big groups of people together still at that point? It's really tough to say. I mean, I haven't even seen Ben in 6 weeks, Yeah.
But also, some people in the band, me included, we tour a lot. The first few weeks of this were kind of like a holiday. It was like, this was my first few weeks of not being on the road in about 2 years. So I got to sit down and actually listen to some records and read some books and see my girlfriend. Then after a couple of weeks, the cabin fever started to set in.
I think one thing for sure is, it's definitely making me a bit itchy to write some more and get on the road and maybe, try and maybe record something. I'd love to say we had a few more concrete plans at the moment. However, I'm sure some things will come together. As I mentioned earlier, because when there's 8 of us, it's a bit tough to get us all in the same city. A few of us live elsewhere in London and George is in Berlin. Power of technology, there's ways and means of getting people together, and I'd love to say hopefully we could do something towards the end of the year, if not very early next, but we'll see. Right now we're really happy with the response that our record got. So we released an album last year called Give It Up on Brixton Records, which was really cool. It's actually our first LP, to be honest, in terms of a full collection that we'd call an album. We're really proud of that. It took a little while to get going as well. Now that we finally got it out, it would be nice to follow it up with something in the near future.
Yeah, it was a shame because that was the tour for Give It Up was our first tour in 4 years.
Yeah, first run of shows.
Yeah, it really got me back in the mood to be on the road with this band some more. Now it's not possible. But we had a great time. It was really nice. We did about 14 dates up and down the country. And we did a few of those with another great band from Yorkshire called King Zephyr. It'd
be great to get back on the road. We've talked with Zephyr about doing some more shows together. So maybe that's something we can look forward to whenever the world returns to slight normality.
Are there any plans for you guys to do stuff online? I've seen quite a lot of artists use varying different apps so that they can all play songs together and then upload it. And some really quite inventive stuff's been done, creative stuff. Any plans for that with you guys?
I've been live streaming some DJ sets from my house, but nothing with other musicians yet. Rick's got a pretty amazing reggae and ska record collection. You should get him doing some Indecision DJ sets.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I haven't thought of that, to be honest.
Cool, watch this space. We might have some DJ sets from the Indecision.
Perfect.
Yeah,
well, let's get another one of your tunes on anyway. I know exactly what it's going to be and I'm looking forward to it because it's an absolute cracker. Would you like to introduce it?
Yeah, sure. This song's called Give It Up, title track of the LP last year. Got a great drum intro. There's not enough of those in the world, we think, but it goes like this.
Offbeat Reggae Radio with the Indecision. It is Give It Up. Just harking back to what you were chatting about 5 minutes ago, talking about being locked in, writing some music yourself. I ended up watching, do you know 42 on YouTube?
No.
Ooh, I can't say I do, actually.
Oh, right. Check him out. Really, really interesting. It's a guy that does a heck of a lot of research and then tells you all kinds of different information on various different subjects. It's really interesting if you like that kind of thing. But he was talking about the fact that actually the virus could end up being a good thing, not being insensitive as to deaths, obviously that's horrific, but it could end up being a good thing because it's similar to the Black Death creating the Renaissance period afterwards. Everyone's locked inside, being really, really creative, and then you end up having just a huge amount of creativity in multiple different areas. Apparently, he reckons we've got some good stuff coming our way, and with you guys talking about the fact that you're writing, I think that good stuff's going to be happening from music, from the arts, film, all that kind of thing.
Absolutely, yeah, I've been writing lots. I've just got to hope someone's got some money to fund it afterwards.
I think if anything, there's bad situations, you often create decent songs at the end of the day, let's be honest. So whilst it's a pretty horrible time to, experiencing all this, and obviously it's the way it's affecting people's lives, maybe in a couple of years, the fruits of people's labours whilst, people are locked away and people are got time on their hands will come to fruition.
Yeah, totally. Everyone's favourite songs are about heartbreak and frustration, aren't they?
Exactly.
I need to put across as well that I was not being insensitive there. It's just what this chap was talking about, and I just found it really, really interesting.
Oh no, yeah, totally. I understand where you're coming from completely. Yeah, it's it is exactly like you said. It's interesting to see what's going to happen. Again, the ambiguity of the situation we're living in at the moment, pretty apparent. But there's hopefully going to be some amazing things coming out of it, some positive things.
Let's hope so. Something needs to. We're wrapping it up. Thank you so much for having a chat with me today. If anybody's interested in finding out a little bit more about the Indecision or listening to some of your tracks, where would you rather they go?
Well, yeah, thank you for having us. First thing, it's really, really appreciated. You can find us all online on the various socials. Facebook and Instagram and Twitter are the most updated. We have got a website which kind of directs you to them all, which is theindecision.co.uk. Otherwise, we're on all the streamers. You'll find us on Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, everything like that. You can check out our last album called Give It Up, which we're really proud of. And we've got some older stuff on there. So we've got a single out, which with some cool Victor Rice remixes, which is a personal favourite of mine. So yeah, you can find us on there under The Indecision.
Where do you get the vinyl, Rikk?
The vinyl is direct from the band. We've got the 45s, we've got LPs, theindecisionband.bandcamp.com. You'll find us on Bandcamp.
Rikk, Ben, thank you so much for talking to me today. Look after yourselves. And as I say to everybody that I talk to, if there's anything you need to promote, anything new coming out, let me know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy.
Cheers, mate.